Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. And in today's session, I'm going to be teaching us on how to record accrued expenses. But before I continue today, I want to specially appreciate those who have subscribed to my channel, those who have been commenting, those who have been liking my videos, those who have been sharing my videos. You are the real MPVs. I want to say a very big thank you. I want to say a very big thank you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your love. Thank you for everything so far. All right. And for those who are yet to subscribe to this channel, kindly joining us to subscribe. There are a lot of values to gain from this channel. All right, we don't just come here to just talk. No, we talk from the place of knowledge, we talk from the place of experience, we talk from the place of knowing. So we encourage you to please subscribe, like, comment, and share. Once again, my name is Emmanuel, and in today's session, I'm going to be teaching us on how to record accrued expenses. All right, accrued expenses. So accrued expenses, we are going to look at it from different perspectives. The first perspective is the grammatical meaning of accrual, right, and the accounting meaning. Okay, so basically, right, the meaning of accrued is the accumulation of something, right, the accumulation of something. All right. So, but accounting wise, when we are talking about accrued expenses, so we are actually talking about expenses that um, the benefits have been enjoyed, but we have not yet paid for them. All right. So, in accounting, when we are talking about accrued expenses, so what we are trying to say is that there are some benefits that we have enjoyed that we have not yet paid for. So those that is what we refer to as accrued expenses in accounting. All right. Now, what concept in accounting supports the recording of accrued expenses accrual? We have what we call the accrual concept of accounting. All right. The accrual concept of accounting is is a concept that explains or simply explains that expenses should be recognized in the books of accounts as at when they are accrued, not when they are being paid, right? Expenses, for example, um, we ordered for we ordered for a particular amount for electricity, all right? The concept explains that we should record that amount as expenses, regardless of whether we have paid for it or not. So that is what the accrual concept is trying to explain. And it's also trying to explain that income or revenue should also be recognized in the books when they happen or at the point where we raise a sales invoice or where a service is being rendered by the company. All right, so it should be recorded, right, in the books of accounts, regardless of the fact that whether we have received that income or not. So that is what the accrual concept is what is talking about. Okay, so you can see there's a whole lot of linkage between accrued expenses and the accrual concept of accounting. But today we are going to be looking at the how to record accrued expenses. How to record accrued expenses. So now there are basically two accounts involved when we are trying to record accrued expenses. Okay, just follow me because I'm trying to give a deeper explanation to it first before we go into the how to record it. There are basically two accounts involved when we want to record accrued expenses, right? And the two accounts involve the the accrued expenses account, the accrued expenses account, and um and the expense account itself. All right, so the accrued expense account is a liability account, right? Is a liability account which is going to be displaying or showing in the statement of financial position. All right, and the expense account itself is the one that would be showing in the statement of profit or loss, like it has been recognized as an expense for the period taken into consideration. All right, so these are the basic two accounts that are necessary, all right, to record accrued expenses. Okay, these are the two accounts that are involved to record accrued expenses. All right, I come again. The accrued expense account, which is a liability account. It is a liability account, and it is going to be showing or be displayed in the statement of financial position. All right, some call it in the statement of financial position, right, indicating that there is an amount of money that does not belong to us, that we are yet to remit or pay to the vendor, right, or whoever has provided us such service. Okay, now the second account is the expense account. That expense account will be showing in the statement of profit or loss, all right, indicating that we have recognized that expense in the books of accounts. All right, so now to record accrued expense, we are going to take about two to three illustrations. All right, so there are a time where at the end of the month there are a couple of bills or there are a couple of services that we have enjoyed. Number one kind of service that we usually enjoy till the end of the month, and sometimes we don't pay for them yet, include electricity. All right, another kind of bill is staff salary. The company would have enjoyed the service of the employees. The company would have enjoyed the service of the employees from the beginning of the month till the end of the month, and sometimes they don't get to be paid in that particular month. So what happens? Another can be repairs and maintenance. All right, sometimes repair can be done for any of the company assets. Is either the PPE, it's either the lister generator, it's either the vehicle, you know. So, and payment is not being done in that month that we enjoyed it. Now, here's the thing: there is need to record every expense for the period which they happen. So, what now happens is this: that expense should affect the period that it was being incurred. That is where how to record this accrued expense it comes into play, right? That is where it comes into play. So at the end of the period, let's take for example the expense was being incurred. Um, let's say the service was being enjoyed in the month of January, right? In the month of January, and it's still in the month of February, we are yet to pay. The company is yet to pay. Let's say for the electricity, or for the repairs and maintenance, or for staff salary. All right. So it is indicating that we are yet to pay. However, that expense must be recognized in the books of account for that particular month. It must be recognized. Why? Because of the accrual concept of accounting that says that expenses should be recognized, right, when they are being accrued and not when they are being paid. That is from the point where we enjoy the service, from the point where we get the goods. Regardless of whether we have paid or not, we should recognize it in the books that these expenses have taken place. All right. So now let's take three illustrations. The following expenses were not paid for as at the end of last month. The following expenses were not paid for as at the end of last month. Number one, electricity bill of 125,000. All right, electricity bill of 125,000. Number two, repair of generator 140,000. All right, and number three, staff salary of 3 million naira. So these are the three expenses that we enjoyed their services in the previous month, right? However, they are yet to be paid even in this present month that we are. Even in this present month that we are. Let's take illustration that this present month is December. December, December, right? And the expenses took place. We enjoyed the services in the month of November, right? So how to record this is that you have to record the expenses so as to hit the month of November. Okay, so as to hit the month of November. So how do we do this? What are the two accounts that we need? I've mentioned them before. The first account we need the accrued expense account, which is a liability account, right? We need the accrued expense account, which is a liability account. Secondly, we need the expense account itself. That is, if it's electricity, the electricity expense account. If it's repairs and maintenance, the repairs and maintenance expense account. If it's a salary expense account. All right, to record the accrued expenses. Now, how do we do it? We are going to be using journal entries to record the transactions. Okay, we are going to be using journal entries. It is not your usual payment. You know, these payments have not been made. Therefore, the payment cannot pass through the bank. Okay? However, it must be recognized in the period as expense. Nevertheless, it has not passed through the bank account. Alright? So, we are not treating it as payments. That is why we are not writing check, we are not using payment. That is why we are going to be making use of journal entries. We are going to make use of what? Journal entries. Now, this is Sage 50. All right. Even if you're making use of QuickBooks or Zoho Books or Tally Accounting or any other accounting software, right? It is the same process. You just try and locate journal entries, general journal entries, or make journal entries. Okay, just look for journal entries. So, but this is Sage 50, right? So I'm going to go to task, all right, and I'm going to locate general journal entry. So I'll click on general journal entry, right? Now that I've clicked on general journal entry, this dialog box has appeared. So remember the expense we said it's in the month of November, right? And we are assuming that we are in the month of December now, right? So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back, change the dates to record or affect the month of what? The month of November. So I'm going to go to 30th November, right? 30th November. Okay? So now, what is the reference? For every journal entry that you create, there will be a reference. This is reference number 1. All right. Now, the first transaction that we want to record, the first accrued expense we want to record is electricity bill of 125,000. That is, we enjoyed the benefit of electricity in the month of November, but we were yet to pay as at December. So I will go back to November. Now, what are the accounts that are involved? The first account I made mention is what? Is the expense account itself. In this case, it is electricity bill. So I'm going to look for electricity. Can you see this search engine? Under this general ledger, I'm going to click on search. Then I'll look for electricity, which is an expense account. All right, electricity, which is an expense account. Can you see electricity here? So this is electricity, so I'm going to click on electricity. All right, so the description is being electricity for the month of, right, being electricity bill for the month of November. Okay, I don't want to type description because of the pattern that I'm using to record. I don't want it to cut off. All right, but that should be the description, or any other way that you feel that if another person picks up the reports, the person will understand what you have written there. So I'm going to debit that amount, which is 125,000, to electricity expense account. I've debited it. The next thing to do is to go and credit the liability account. What is the liability account? Accrued expenses. Watch something. You know that it didn't pass through the bank because we have not paid, but we need to just recognize. So this is the channel through which we are using to recognize it in the books of accounts. So I'm going to search for accrued expenses, right? Accrued expenses. Accrued, I think this is it's accrued expenses, right? It is different from the electricity expense. I'm going to click on accrued expense, then I will credit the accrued expense with 125,000 naira. Okay, now you can see that debit side is equal to the credit side right now. So this journal is good to go, right? So, but what is happening here right now? What is this thing explaining? As soon as I save this journal, right? As soon as I save this journal, two things are going to happen. The first thing that will happen is that the income account, the statement of profit or loss account, will be debited with electricity of 125,000 for the month of November, right? Indicating that we have recognized that expense for that month of November. And the second thing that will happen is the accrued expense account, which is a liability account, will be credited, and it will be recorded in the statement of financial position under other current liabilities, right? That this amount of money we are here to pay it doesn't belong to us. It doesn't belong to us. Anybody that picks up the report, the financial manager, the MD, the internal auditor, anybody that picks up this report would immediately understand what has happened here, right? So I'm going to save this. So once I now save this, they will record. So anytime that the company is ready, or let's say the request has been approved for this payment to be made, then they can now go and make the payment. Then it will leave the statement of financial position. But right now I want to save. All right, so I'm going to click on save. Remember, I debited the electricity expense accounts and I credited the accrued expense account, which is a liability account. So I'm going to click on save. Right? It's asking me a question that you are about to save a transaction that is not in the current period. Do you want to continue? I'm going to say yes. I know that it is not in the current period, so I would like to continue. So I'll click on yes. Now this transaction has saved. All right. So that is the process of recording accrued expense. Accrued expense. Now, before we record the remaining two, I would like us to quickly check, all right, if it has saved successfully or not. I would like us to quickly check. So to check, I'm going to go to report and forms, right? I'll click on financial statements. So the first thing I want to check is my profit or loss account, and I'll click OK. Profit or loss account. So I want to check the month of November. The month of November. Can you see 25,000 here? Can you see 25,000 here? 25,000. Can you see this 25,000 in the month of November? If you trace it to the left, you will see that it is for electricity, right? You see that it is for electricity. coming. I'm trying to let you see that clearly. Okay, trying to let you see that clearly. Okay, so that is for electricity in the month of, so it has been recognized in the month of November as electricity. Okay, so these are the revenue, these are the cost of sales and etc. So this is recorded in the month of November. Okay, if you want to see how come, if you want to recall back and check what happened, you just double click this, right, and it will take you back to the general ledger. All right, so this is 125,000. If you double click, right, it will take you back to the journal that was raised. You will now know that okay, truly the expense account was debited and the liability account, the accrued expense liability account, was being credited. So that's for the income statement. Now let us go and check the effects. The effects in the statement of financial position. I'm going to go to balance sheet, right, and click OK. Right now, I want to in the balance sheet. This is the statement of financial position. Can you see that accrued expenses here? Can you see accrued expense? This is the 125,000. This is the accrued expense, indicating or explaining that the company is owing this amount to who? To the electricity vendor. All right, to who? To the electricity vendor. That is the first recording of the accrued expense that we have here. So we are going to record the other ones. Okay, I think we took enough time to explain this one, but the remaining two, we might not be as slow as this. I believe that by now we understand the process. So the next is repairs of generator, 140,000. So they told us that as at the month of November, there was a repair that was carried out on the generator, but the repairs are yet to be paid for. And the repairs are what? Are yet to be paid for. Now, since the repairs are yet to be paid for, but we are in the following month, we need to balance our books. That is, the expense for the period need to be correct. Okay, so we need to go back and record it as an accrued expense. What do? We will need to debit the repairs and maintenance accounts, and we will need to credit the what? We will need to credit the accrued expense accounts. Okay, with that exact value. Now, to do this, I'm going to go to task and I'm going to go to general journal entry. General journal entry. Now that I've clicked on general journal, I'm going to record it in the month which it happened, even if it has passed. Now it is in the month of November, so I'll click on 30th. This is reference number 2. What's the first thing to do? I'm going to debit. This is the general ledger. I'll search for what's it called? Repairs and maintenance accounts. Repairs and maintenance, which is an expense account. Repairs and maintenance. Good. So this is repairs and maintenance. I'm going to click on repairs and maintenance. Like I said before, your description is what you write to make anybody that picks up the report understands or gives a better explanation to what has happened here. All right, even if the person is not account inclined. Okay, so but I don't want to put any description. I want to click on go to next. So I'm going to debit it. How much was this expense? It was 140,000. So I'm going to put 140,000. Right? Now, the next is to go to the next row and look for the accrued expense. Accrued expense account, which is the liability account. And I'm going to credit it with the same amount, which is 140,000. Right? So once I do this, you can see that the debit side is equal to the credit side. So I'm going to click on save. It's asking me that you are about to save a transaction that is not in the current period. Do you want to continue? So I'm going to click on yes. Right? I'm going to click on yes. So I've clicked on yes, so it has saved. Let's quickly check this. I'm going to go to reports, financial statements, then profit or loss accounts. Okay, so um, this is electricity. This was the one we checked before, right? That's the 125 we first one we posted. The next one is the repairs and maintenance. Can you see the repairs and maintenance? 140,000 naira has been recorded. Now let's go and see it in let's go and see the effect in the statement of financial position or the balance sheet. Right? I'll click on balance sheet and I'll click on OK. Can you see that the accrued expense is increasing? It has increased. The first one was 125. The next one was 140. If we add everything together, it will give us 265,000. That is why we have accrued expense of 265,000 naira. So that is the process of recording accrued expense. All right. So what we are going to do, we're going to perform the last one. I need to stay tuned because this last one is very tricky. All right, the aspect of salary accrued expense. So once we record the salary accrued expense, right, we are now going to see what happens when the payment is being made. All right, so we are now going to see what happens once the payment is being made. You might be watching from any part of the world. I'm speaking from Nigeria. Okay, any part of the world that you are, this is the same process of recording accrued expense. All right, in UK, in US, in London, in Australia, anywhere you are. All right, in Nigeria, in South Africa, this is the right process of recording your accrued expenses. But if you are yet to subscribe to this channel, please just turn on your notification bell, subscribe, like, comment, and share. All right. So stay tuned as we continue the process of recording accrued expenses.